Oh, hello. You caught me mid-song. Hello there. It's almost Christmas. Are you very excited? I am too. Everything's done now. It's all ready. I just have to get my cookies ready for Santa and the carrots for the reindeer. Leave out a little milk. Here we go. It's ready. And because it is such a special time for you to have with your families, we're just going to do one story today, and it is a classic, beautiful Christmas story. Then, if I do say so myself, a terrific craft to be done during your Christmas holiday time. And by the way, Happy Hanukkah for those that celebrate Hanukkah. So the story today is The Polar Express. And this is this beautiful story. This is the library's version. We have it if you need it. We also have some great Christmas classics for you, Mom, Dads, Grandpies, Grammies. So, Polar Express, and this is Chris Van Allsberg's classic story about a little boy's wish. Okay, you ready? Here we go. On Christmas Eve, many years ago, I lay quietly in my bed. I did not rustle the sheets. I breathed slowly and silently, and I was listening for a sound. A sound a friend told me I'd never hear. The ringing bells of Santa's sleigh. It's really my necklace, but I was excited. There is no Santa, my friend had insisted, but I knew he was wrong. Later that night I did hear sounds, though not of ringing bells. From outside came the sound of hissing steam and squeaking metal. I looked through my window and saw a train standing perfectly still in front of my house. Okay, so here's this little boy's nice bedroom, and he was all cozy, and he's waiting for that sound for Santa, but he sees a train instead. It was wrapped in an apron of steam. Snowflakes fell lightly around it. A conductor stood at the open door of one of the cars. He took a large pocket watch from his vest and then looked up at my window. I put on my slippers and my robe, and I tiptoed downstairs and out the door. "All aboard!" the conductor cried out. I ran up to him. "Well," he said, "are you coming?" "Where?" I asked. "Why, to the North Pole, of course," was his answer. "This is the Polar Express." I took his outstretched hand, and he pulled me aboard. He's off for a big adventure. Ooh, look at the goodies. The train was filled with other children. They were all in pajamas and their nightgowns. We sang Christmas carols and ate candies with nougat centers as white as snow. We drank hot cocoa as thick and rich as melted chocolate bars. Outside, the lights of the town and villages flickered in the distance as the Polar Express raced northward. So just to pause for a minute, there are Polar Expresses that run here in Maine too for kids, and they do the same thing. The kids show up and they have their hot chocolate and cookies, but here they are, all having a warm, cozy time together. This is my favorite picture. Soon, there were no more lights to be seen. We traveled through the cold, dark forests where lean wolves roamed and white-tailed rabbits hid from our train as it thundered through the quiet wilderness. think this is such an amazing picture. The wolves there and the quiet of that forest with the snow. Something very just special, quiet, magical. We climbed mountains so high it seemed as if we would scrape the moon. But the Polar Express never slowed down. Faster and faster we ran along, rolling over peaks and through valleys like a car on a roller coaster. See the train way up high? Ooh. The mountains turned into hills and the hills to snow-covered plains. We crossed a barren desert of ice, the great polar ice caps. Lights appeared in the distance. They looked like the lights of a strange ocean liner sailing on a frozen sea. Then the conductor said, "It's the North Pole!" Look, it's Santa's workshops. All the elves are working on their toys. The North Pole was a huge city standing alone at the top of the world, filled with factories where every Christmas toy was made. At first we saw no elves. "They are gathering in the center of the city," the conductor told us. "That is where Santa will give the first gift of Christmas." "Who receives the first gift?" we all asked. The conductor answered, "He will choose one of you." Here's another really fun picture. All this sea of red and kind of pink out here, these are all of Santa's elves gathered in the center of all the factory areas for the first present of Christmas. "Look," shouted one of the children, "the elves!" And outside we saw hundreds of elves. As our train drew closer to the center of the North Pole, we slowed to a crawl. So crowded were the streets with Santa's helpers. When the Polar Express could go no further, we stopped and the conductor let us outside. Get ready. There he is, Santa. We passed through the crowd to the edge of a large open circle, and in front of us stood Santa's sleigh. The reindeer were excited. They were prancing and pacing and ringing the silver sleigh bells that hung from their harnesses. It was a magical sound, like nothing I had ever heard. Across the circle, the elves moved apart, and Santa Claus appeared. The elves cheered wildly. He marched over to us and, pointing to me, said, "Let's have that fellow there." He jumped into his sleigh, and the conductor handed me up. I sat on Santa's knee, and he asked, "Now, what would you like for Christmas?" The answer might surprise you. I knew I could have any gift I could imagine. But the thing I wanted most for Christmas was not inside Santa's giant bag. What I wanted more than anything was one of the silver bells from Santa's sleigh. And when I asked, Santa smiled, and then he gave me a hug and told an elf to cut a bell from the reindeer's harness. The elves tossed it up to Santa, and he stood holding the bell high above him and called out, "The first gift of Christmas!" See the little bell? A clock struck midnight as the elves roared their approval. Santa handed the bell to me, and I put it in my bathrobe pocket. The conductor helped me down from the sleigh. Santa shouted out the reindeers' names and cracked his whip. His team charged forward and climbed into the air. Santa circled once above us and then disappeared in the cold, dark polar sky. He's off. He is heading, as he will in a couple nights, to go all around the world to give presents to children. Uh-oh, but look how our friend, he's very sad. As soon as we were back inside the Polar Express, the other children asked me to see the bell. I reached into my pocket, but the only thing I felt was a hole. I had lost the silver bell from Santa Claus's sleigh. Let's hurry outside and look for it, one of the children said. But the train gave a sudden lurch and started moving. We were on our way home. Almost lost the book, but I caught it. Okay, now see, he's back home. Doesn't have the bell, though. It broke my heart to lose the bell. When the train reached my house, I sadly left the other children. I stood at my doorway and waved goodbye. The conductor said something from the moving train, but I couldn't hear him. What? I yelled out. He cupped his hands around his mouth. Merry Christmas! He shouted. The Polar Express let out a loud blast from its whistle and sped away. On Christmas morning, my little sister Sarah and I opened our presents. When it looked as if everything had been unwrapped, Sarah found one last small box behind the tree. It had my name on it, and inside was the silver bell. There was a note. Found this on the seat of my sleigh. Fix that hole in your pocket. Signed, Mr. C. I shook the bell. It made the most beautiful sound my sister and I had ever heard. But my mother said, "Oh, that's too bad." "Yes," said my father, "it's broken." When I'd shaken the bell, my parents had not heard a sound. So the grown-ups couldn't hear the sound, but the kids could. Here's the bell. At one time, most of my friends could hear the bell. But as years passed, it fell silent for all of them. Even Sarah found one Christmas that she could no longer hear its sweet sounds. And though I've grown old, the bell still rings for me as it does for all who truly believe. The library, our sweet library, Belgrade Library, has many wonderful stories, and hopefully you get here to get a couple stories before Christmas break if you're a school-age child, or even some books during your vacation. Okay? So right now, we're going to move over to the craft table because it's quite a fun, special craft. You ready? See you. Oh, my little crafters, it's time to make our Santa for the season. Here's what you'll get when you come to get your craft kit at the library. You can get it before Christmas or after, your choice. So you will have in your bag super sturdy craft tube, and then you're going to have a red sheet of paper, and you will roll the craft tube up and then tip the ends in, so it makes it neater, right? So you can't see all this extra paper. From here, what you're going to do, you will have a white piece of paper, and that's for Santa's face, because if you didn't have like contrast, you couldn't see his eyes. It would be hard. So there is Santa's little face, and I'm just going to hold it. I don't have any glue or scissors, glue or tape or anything, so I'm just going to hold on. So here's for his face. Then this, I'm going to run out of hands to hold this, but this is for his little black belt, right? Okay, so this is the, that's the basic structure that you're going to need right there. Then you're going to, I'm going to drop that so you can see what I'm going to do. So then you're going to have some puff balls in your kit. And it's up to you. I think what I did first was I put the wiggly eyes on, the googly eyes. I think I did those first. And his little pom-pom nose. Then I started getting glue all over his beard. and I got that all over the front of his face. Let that sit for a minute, and then I'm going to show you what I did. So let's imagine that now you've wrapped the tube, you've put his little belt on, that's all glued, and his little face, his little white face, right? And you've gone ahead and glued his beard, and his nose and his eyes are on. So now it's time for his hair and his hat. So whatever glue, I actually think a liquid glue is better than a glue stick for this. I used a clear glue, liquid glue, and it held. So what I did was I took my cotton balls, and my fingers got all gluey, just be prepared, and I placed the cotton balls on the inside of the tube. Of course, I don't have any glue on them, so they're not sticking. But so you just mush them up there with the glue and hold it for a minute so it can set, right? Just hold on. Let it dry. Go have some hot cocoa or something. And then this was my last step. So inside the kit you'll have a triangle, and I just folded the triangle like this, slide it into the tube. I actually used tape. I taped the back of the hat triangle to the craft tube, and then it's all set to go if you use tape. If you use glue, it's going to take a little bit. And because it's going to stretch out inside, whoops, I'm trying to fight it without glue. There we go. So it will stay, trust me, you just got to work at it, because mine did. Okay, so let's say it's already in there, right? Then you get a little tiny pom-pom and glue it to the top of his hat. And I think we're good. Oh, I did do one last thing now that I think about it. I gave him little red cheeks like he was cold, right? He's been out delivering his Christmas packages. And there's my little Santa friend, and I think he's very cute. I had some stickers. If you have some stickers, you can put it on his outfit. And inside your bag, because Santa always brings treats, there's going to be a little candy cane for you. You got to ask Mom and Dad if you can have it. But it's going to be in the bag for you, okay? Have a great holiday. And come get some books. Until next week, Santa and I'll see you later. Ho, ho, ho! Merry Christmas!